Good evening. My name is Bess Wills, and my day job is General Manager of Gresham Ford, but I'm happy to say I'm on the steering committee of 100 Women Who Care East County. And there's a few others out there that are on the steering committee. Why don't you give a wave out? Thank you all for joining us tonight. 100 plus Women Who Cares East County was founded on the belief that many hands make for light work. Or in this case, 100 plus women working and giving together can truly change our community. Margaret Mead famously said, "Never believe that a few caring people can't change the world, for indeed, that's all who ever have." As tonight everyone has been invited, I'd like to recap what 100 plus Women Who Care East County has accomplished. For approximately the past 2 years, every 3 months or so, we have heard presentations from 3 local charities nominated by our members. After the presentations, members voted and then wrote a $100 check to the winner. To date, we raised nearly $70,000 for local nonprofits. We have helped YMCA Camp Collins, the Trauma Intervention Program, Boxes of Love, Serendipity School Garden Project, Gresham Barlow Education Foundation's Tomorrow Bus, My Father's House High School Graduation Program, and the Gresham Senior Citizen Quilting Program. Our next meeting was scheduled for May 10th, and the steering committee was faced with a decision: what to do. We all still care, and how can we do something that not only meets the mission of 100 women, but to do something that is really important right now in our community? So this is what we came up with. We invited the world, so it's not just 100 plus women. Hope there are lots of people out there watching on Facebook Live right now. Please put it out there. We want everyone to watch. We want everyone to watch because the services offered by these 3 nonprofits you are going to hear from tonight may be able to help a neighbor, a relative, an employee, or maybe even your own family during this extraordinary time. So number 1, we hope this is educational and will spread the word of the good and timely services all 3 offer. And yes, we're going to ask for donations. We are making it clear that we would love to have your regular $100 donation. We understand these are different times. And while some can, others may not. But I guarantee to you, every dollar raised will be put to good use. And every dollar goes directly to these charities. The 3 nonprofits we are hearing from tonight were selected because they are making an immediate impact and meeting critical needs in our community during this current crisis. All 3 have invented ways to serve their normal client base, yet include the high level of new demand put on their services by the COVID-19 issue. They are Meals on Wheels, providing not only food, but critical check-ins with our most vulnerable population, our seniors and those disabled. Snow-capped community charities, who provide immediate nutrition and other services to the working poor and those on fixed incomes without layers of paperwork. Birch community charities, who help families with essential needs and provide practical support with finances and life skills that provide a path to financial stability. I'm going to introduce them one at a time. They will present for about 5 minutes. If you have questions, please write them in chat, whether on Zoom or Facebook. And those questions will be relayed to me, and we will try to answer at the end of each presentation. At any time during the presentation, you can donate on the links provided. You can choose one or all 3 to donate to. Please share with others if you are so moved. Again, on behalf of 100 women who care East County, thank you for joining, and let's get on with the presentations. Our first presentation will be from Meals on Wheels. Brianna Wingingham, Ambleside Program Manager here in Gresham. She has a heart for all things Gresham. When we reached out to her when this whole thing started, her goal was not to let any senior who needed her services go without. And she has worked tirelessly on their behalf, creating a network of clever ideas to serve during this pandemic. Brianna, you're on.
Hello. Thank you for having me. It has been a whirlwind of 6 weeks. I'm happy to say that we have reached a new normal, but it is very much a different new normal. We are still serving meals to seniors in East County. We go from everything from 162nd East out to Corbett on the Multnomah County line. We have always offered a meal to anybody 60 and over. Unfortunately, we are no longer able to do that in our dining room. And so what we're doing is we're switching that format to home delivered for everybody. It's been a lot to get that going. It's been a little bit of a change. The first week that we saw everything shut down, we were getting, at the Gresham site, we were getting over 10 new starts a day. That didn't slow down for at least 3 weeks. And now we've gotten to a point where we're seeing maybe 2 people come through a day, which is good. It tells me that a lot of the people that need us are being reached, and I'm happy to know that. I do want to just really quickly say that if you know somebody that needs Meals on Wheels, that is having a hard time getting food, whether that be for financial reasons, or because they physically are having a hard time cooking, or because going out and getting food has become very challenging for them, they can call 503-736-6325 to get signed up. It's a donation-only basis. We encourage people to donate if they can, but we don't keep track of who donates and who doesn't because everybody gets the same service. It's also a nutrition-based program. I wanted to kind of give you a little show and tell here. So these are our typical Meals on Wheels meals. They do look a little bit like a TV dinner, but they were all made within the last week. That makes them much more fresh. They're a lot healthier, and they're specifically tailored to a senior's needs. So they're lower fat, lower sodium, especially, than you would be able to get if you got something that looked like it in a grocery store. Typically, we would serve that with a salad, but because of the challenges in the supply line and just being able to give people enough food for a week, we have not been able to do the salads. Instead, we've been giving kind of whatever comes our way. So snack packs for people. We've been doing hard-boiled eggs. We've switched from small milks to bigger sizes to make sure that everybody that can't get to a grocery store has food. On a typical month, we would see that most of our seniors have access to other sources of food, and what we're seeing now is that's not necessarily the case. So instead of serving seniors 1 meal at a time, 5 days a week, we have started serving 1 day a week in order to reduce contact, so that there's less chance that they're exposed to anything. And we're serving them 7 of those meals that I showed a week, but we're also just loading it with any kind of extras that we can. So bread, the Girl Scouts donated cookies, those were a big hit. We've really just been trying to say, if we're the only thing in your refrigerator right now, we're going to give you all you need. And what's been really great is if we have heard from somebody that they just don't have another source of food, we've actually been doubling it and giving them enough so that they can have 2 of our meals a day in order to supplement. I actually had a client recently tell me that she was so glad that we had changed our service and we were doing what we were doing. She said she's never been in a position to need anything more than just an occasional lunch and a chat with her volunteer. But her son, who normally grocery shops for her, actually worked for one of the Portland companies that had an outbreak and had to be quarantined for a couple weeks. And she just said that he was worried sick about her not getting groceries, and she was able to tell him when he came and stood out in her front lawn and waved to say hello to her that she had the food she needed. And that's why we're doing what we're doing. Do we need food donations? So food donations are very helpful. If they're individually packaged, they can come to our center at 8th and Kelly. If they're not individually packaged, it's a little bit hard. What we would usually do is send them to our main kitchen in Southwest Portland, because they have the capacity, the conveyor belts, to break it up and make it servable. We are currently serving, in the Gresham area, we're currently serving about 440 clients a day. And with that, it's over 600 meals a day. So there's a lot of food going out. What that has created is it's actually created a bit of a problem with space. We are not used to giving out that much food, and so we're not used to storing that much food overnight. We are running out of freezer space and looking for a new way to get a freezer, at least until our service returns to normal, because in the meantime, it's there is frozen meatloaf everywhere, and we don't have many more places to put it. So we're looking for a little bit of help there. At this point, we have enough volunteers simply because we typically run 17 routes a day. And because of our reduced contact format, we are down to about 6 routes a day. I really have to stress that this couldn't happen without the volunteers, whether it's normal non-COVID times or COVID times. Our volunteers are our backbone, and we just couldn't do it without them. So they're the ones out driving the routes. They're the ones not actually standing close and talking to the client, but standing at least 6 feet away and waving and saying, "How are you?" And they're also the ones that are calling the clients. So we're calling them at least once a week and just saying, "How are you doing? Do you need anything else? Do you need toilet paper? We'll bring you that." We're really trying to be that connection for them that we're not able to be when we're not there in person. We're trying to recreate that over the phone as much as we can. So currently, any donations that we collect are going into just our service. We have seen over $315,000 in increased costs a month since this started. We anticipate that now that we've been able to change our service model, maybe that'll start calming down, but it was a pretty huge undertaking. When this first started, we simply didn't have the capacity to make as much food as we needed. We had to buy a lot of food. We had to really invest in some different structures. I mean, one thing you don't think about is we didn't have enough coolers to send out 600 meals a day when we were typically doing 350. We have definitely seen a lot of increased costs, and the big thing is getting a cooler to the Ambleside site immediately, or as close to immediately as you can get it during the COVID outbreak. I just want to thank you guys so much for having us, and I really want to thank all the nonprofits in the area, because I really am just, it's not just us, we're not a silo, and I'm really proud of the work that we're doing as a Gresham community.
Well, thank you, Brianna. It's just, you've done amazing work for these times. And so, I want to encourage anyone that's on here to listen to her, that say, a freezer would help, and obviously just extra dollars to get those meals to those seniors that, if they weren't there, these people would be in dire straits. So, you've done amazing work. So thank you so much, Brianna.
Thank you.
Do we have any more questions? Okay. Well, we'll move on to number 2 then, okay? Let me see. She answered. Okay, she answered all the questions, so that's great. Okay, so thank you, Brianna. Okay, so I want to move on, and I want to mention something else right now. Sue, being Sue, is always on the internet looking for things and to help her community. And she found a matching grant for Snowcap and for Birch Community Services. So if we raise $5,000, if they raise $5,000 tonight, there's a matching grant of $5,000. And so I just wanted to tell you all that now as we go forward into these next 2 presentations. The second presentation will be Kirsten Wagerman, Executive Director at Snowcap Community Charities. She has an interesting story. She served side by side her mother, and now her 2 older daughters are often found volunteering at her side as well. It will be interesting to hear what needs they currently have to serve our community. Kirsten, you're on.
Excellent. First of all, thank you so much for organizing this. I feel like I'm in excellent company with Brianna and Suzanne, because this is unprecedented. And when I'm listening to Brianna speak, everything changed overnight for the whole world. But for those of us that are committed to service, it has flipped everything upside down. I'm so proud of the work at SnowCap. Regularly, we serve between 9,000 and 10,000 folks every month in a normal month. And when we found out on March 12th that there was the social distancing order, not only did we need to restructure our services, but our only major fundraiser was on the 14th, 2 days away. And it was a blow in that way, but quickly we pivoted. We were able to just focus on what matters most at SnowCap, and that's our clients, that are the people that we serve. So we went from a shopping style pantry where folks could come and select their own foods, and we'd welcome them in to look for clothing, all manner of things, to becoming a food box factory, and going from having 50 to 100 volunteers on site each day to having 5 or 10. And it's a real change. And I see on my screen tonight, I see a few of our volunteers, and I just, we miss you. It's really hard. You all work very hard for SnowCap. And we're used to having all kinds of food drives come in, barrels that are collecting food. And we don't have much of that anymore. All of the food that comes to SnowCap is now in quarantine. The food that comes, we're needing to purchase a lot of food. We also were struggling with what Brianna mentioned with just the supply chain of getting things. I never really thought I'd be out there saying we need canned vegetables, but we need canned vegetables, and they're hard to find because fresh food is more difficult to find. Things like cooler space, baby food, formula, lots of hygiene items, expenses that I never had thought of, such as boxes, going back to a box model, that these boxes need to be stacked in a certain way so they don't fall over, and they're expensive. It's an added expense we've not had. Also, janitorial, keeping things very clean, having the supplies that we need, doing deliveries instead of having as many come. We had to transform our facility in order to have no contact. We closed our lobbies and we just looked around and said, okay, we're going to do this out the window now. How do we do that? And so I've been very proud of the volunteers that remain and our team. In addition, we knew that something could happen, and what was the next step? How could we ensure that we would be here to serve if someone on our team became sick? Because there's so few of us, and we were able, with the help of the Port of Portland and the City of Gresham, to secure a couple of shipping containers. My lights went out, guys. I have to move in a sec. And the shipping containers are now on Pine Street behind us, and they have 2 weeks full of food in there, and food boxes. And the worst happened here to us last week, where a volunteer showed symptoms. And so I had to send almost all of my staff home and all of the volunteers. And so this week, we just figure out how we're going to get it done. We had those food boxes made, and I'm at the window every day serving clients. 2 board members are helping me with 1 staff person. And today alone, we saw nearly 400 individuals come through our line between 10 and 2. No matter what happens, SnowCap's going to be here. And I appreciate the investments that people are making in thousands of little ways. I wish you could come and volunteer, but you can't until for a little while. But the support that comes in makes sure that we're here. And we're doing everything we can. We don't intend to close during this crisis.
Okay, so any questions for Kirsten? Let's see. Well, again, I want to mention the WHH Foundation grant is going to be able to provide some extra funds. There is a question for you, Kirsten. How do you usually get your funding?
We are a broad-based charity. We usually get our funding from thousands of individuals, businesses, organizations. Our average cash donation is $50 to $75. So we are entirely privately funded. And it's really interesting because we are such a broad-based organization, when regular people are hurting, they might become clients rather than being donors. And that's totally understandable. And so we don't know what the rest of the year is going to look like as more and more people, 1 in 8 Oregonians that have filed for unemployment, that deeply affects SNOCAP.
Yes, so I mean, I want to attest to Kirsten. I talked to her one day and she said she was out of vegetables. And I said, I can answer this question. We're just going to go get V8s. And I sent one of our employees, and went to like 5 different stores and there was no V8 juice, you know? So I mean, it's amazing what is not out there in the supply chain. So Kirsten, thank you so much for what you're doing and your hard work. And I can't only imagine just working by yourself with a few volunteers and getting those 400 food boxes out today. So sleep well tonight, my dear, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, with no more questions, we'll move on to Birch Community Charities. Was started by Suzanne and her late husband, Barry. What a team. They have been nationally recognized for their results-oriented approach to stopping the chain of poverty. We look forward to hearing about the innovative ways Suzanne and her team have come up with this current situation. Suzanne, you're on, dear.
Thank you, Beth. I also just want to thank you for giving me an opportunity to share about BCS. I often say it's very much like asking to see pictures of my grandkids. You know, I want to flip it all out. So I really enjoy, I love what I do, and 28 years later, I still love what I do. And I agree with these lovely women. Life looks a lot different right now than it has for quite a while. So the purpose of BCS, the Sustainable Families Program, is really designed to help working poor, and I guess that's not a politically correct statement anymore, struggling working families that are trying to better themselves. And so if you walked into our warehouse, then you would think, oh, it's Costco. It looks like Costco, and it's a food program. But it's not. It really is a financial literacy program designed to help families move themselves out of their present circumstances. And we do that utilizing our 4 pillars that we talk about: food, education, freedom, and legacy. So food is the first thing. I mean, people need to know they can feed their families, and that's a lot of stress when you can't feed your family. So our families come and shop once a week at our warehouse. We do what we call a count the value, where each family determines the value of what they receive in a month, and that averages between all of our 600 families. That averages about $1,000 a month between food, household items, clothing items, work boots, that kind of thing. And so they come and they get that once a week. And that does 2 things. It eliminates the stress of knowing that they can feed their family. And it also builds a bubble, a margin back into their budget that they didn't have before. So we tell people they should be able to save at least half of their food budget. So if they've normally been spending $800 a month, they should save a minimum of half, and most people save more. And what happens is they take that margin, that bubble, and they repurpose it towards their financial goals. And they do that through the education aspect of our program. So they meet with our financial literacy manager, Dino Biaggi. He's very kind, he's very wise, he's not judgmental, and people love to talk with him. But he meets with every family and goes over their budget and in detail and helps them make a plan on how to move forward. So that's a really big deal. He also gets them into one of our finance classes that we provide at no cost to our families also. That's part of the requirement. And so we strive to give them the tools that they need to succeed. So now we have food, education. The third is freedom. Freedom from stress. Freedom to actually be able to plan for the future, because so many families live paycheck to paycheck. And so now they can actually make a plan for their future that's really designed for them personally, and they can move forward in that. And the last piece is legacy. So now they have these tools that they're putting into action, and they can pass them on to their families, to their friends. You know, their kids are going to learn how to manage money from them because that's what they've learned. So this is, it's a great way for people to receive, but they also give back. So every family that participates also gives back by paying a small service fee every month, and then volunteering 2 hours. It's a very workable amount of time. So they're giving back. They actually become part of the answer to all of their peers that are in the warehouse, and they build a real strong community as they work together and serve with each other. Everyone benefits, everyone gives, and so that's really valuable. The $80 a month service fee that every family pays about 65% of our operational costs. So that helps us be a sustainable example to our families also. So overall, it works really well. Our families are increasing, as you can imagine. We do serve working families, but that also includes people who are eligible and looking for work, and people who have just lost their jobs. There's a lot of that happening right now. And so initially at that, 6-7 weeks ago, we had 3 times as many applications from people who said, COVID took my job away and now I don't know what to do. And so it's been really a delight to be able to continue to serve. We face the same kinds of things that these ladies have, and that is like, do we bring people in? Well, our facility is quite large. It's about 22,000 square feet. And so we are able to be pretty creative. We've done a lot of social distancing. We have markers all over the floor. And when people come in, we've actually closed off our office to keep those women safe and working hard, and started a check-in. We have a big plexiglass thing that protects the person doing check-in, and hand sanitizers, and there's disinfectant spray to spray off the handles of the shopping carts. And then we are at a very limited number. We're doing like 7 volunteers at a time, when we're used to like 30 at a time. So I'm just feeling you, Brianna and Kristen. Just it's challenging, but it's been. We talk about creative destruction, about tearing down things and rebuilding them in better ways. This has really forced us to do that, and so. The staff have been rock stars. They're coming in at 5 to get things set up. We've spread out our hours during the day. We've had people learn to sign up online for their shopping shifts. So people are coming in very slow and steady throughout the day. And so that's 600 families a week. Plus we also share with about 70 other nonprofits in the area. So we've been fortunate enough to get certain things in abundance, and it's really a delight to be able to say, hey, we've got extra milk, or we have extra lettuce, or anything like that. It's been really great to be able to share it with them too. So we find that generally we are able to serve, if we think exponentially, that we're able to touch almost 20,000 people a week because of the way the agencies serve also. So it's been very challenging. I like the challenge. I really like the challenge. My staff has really been up to it. And once again, I'm really proud of the work that they are doing and that we're doing as a team of nonprofits in the area. I think it's pretty phenomenal. Thank you, ladies, for what you're doing.
Suzanne, do you have other than just probably more of everything, do you have an immediate need that funds could help you with? Like Brianna needs a freezer right now. Is there something immediate that you're having a need for?
Yes, we've had, in the last 6 weeks, we've had our 10-door freezer break down numerous times where we have to unload it at the night every night and put it in the bigger freezer and reload it in the morning after we let it kind of settle and reset itself. And then our truck has broken down 3 times in these last few weeks, and it's not been little things, it's been big things. It's always that way. So especially our truck is a big deal for us right now.
Well, you've been doing great work, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I think we got all the questions answered, and I thank you again, all 3 of you, for all the fabulous work and all the families you're touching. It's just amazing. So anyhow, in closing now, I want you to consider 3 things. 3 things. Just, I got to get 3 things up. 3 fingers. I'm not so sure. Anyhow, 3 things. If you're interested in joining 100 Women Who Care East County, please go to our website and join. It's very simple. You just put your name down, and then you'll get notified in the future of our normal meetings once they start again. It's 100 plus women who care eastcounty.org, because we'd love to have you. So if this is a one-time thing that you're joining us this evening, we'd love to have you all the time. Number 2, please spread the word about the good works of these nonprofits. No senior, no child, no one in our community should go hungry. And these charities will prevent that from happening. So please, it's not just about the donations, it's about the education and knowing what's going on and knowing where to send your neighbor. And then obviously number 3, if you are able to make a donation, please do so. No amount is too big or too small. Give to one of these charities, give to them all. The links are on Facebook or on 100 Women Who Care eastcounty.org website. I just, ask you, if that is something you can do, please do it. It's, great. We can use our credit cards tonight. And I just want to again thank everyone for doing this. And I'd like to turn the meeting over for a little bit to Sue. She's been behind the scenes. She's the wizard. And I'm, I'm the lion that's, had the courage, they had to force me onto this show tonight. Anyhow, Sue, where are you?
Thank you, Bess. I'd like to start off with praising the Lord that the system worked. It's the first time I've done a live on Facebook. So yay, we made it work, ladies. And I just wanted to remind everybody about this amazing WHH Foundation matching donation. We have that for the donations that are given tonight. So it's for the donations that came in today for them. So please, if you are able to give, go on to the link rather than mailing in your checks, especially the ladies that usually do that. Go on to the links and send in your donation via that link so that we can tabulate today's totals for them so they can get those matching grants to those charities that they're going to match that with. So I just wanted to reiterate that. And again, thank you. We had quite a few visitors on with us tonight, men and women who care about our great community of Gresham like everybody in our organization does. And these wonderful charities, the work that you're doing, it's what you do every day before all this happened. But we understand the craziness that you guys have had to go through to help so many more people in our city. And we really appreciate that. And I know that you've been getting a lot of volunteer help and you've been getting food help. As you guys have said, some of your facilities are a little full. But you guys are working around the clock, and we so appreciate that. And we know that the monetary help will help pay those bills for you guys and move things forward. So again, thank you to the WHH Foundation for the matching grants. And thank you to our 3 organizations tonight for all that you do for the citizens of this town. And I think with that, Bess, did you have one last word before we close it off for the night?
Well, I think Jill had a question, and so I think I saw the question fly by on the screen. And so, Jill, what I understand is that tonight, we want to give to all three of these charities. The matching grants are going to be for Snowcap and for Birch Community Services, because that's in their services. So
up to $5,000 for each one.
Up to $5,000 for each one. So, anything you give tonight to either of those charities, will be doubled. But Brianna needs a freezer, so come on, give her some too. Okay. Okay. So, no, I don't have anything else to say. I just want to thank you all and please, may your families stay healthy and safe, and bless you all. Good night.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen tonight.